Hi there, it's Wendy Hernandez with Command the Courtroom. In this week's video, I want to talk with you about potential sanctions you could suffer if you don't follow the rules when it comes to disclosure and discovery. The reason I want to address this topic in today's video is because this is something that's come up for me in a couple of my cases recently. In one of the cases, we were about 2 weeks out from trial, and I was shocked when I received an expert report from the other side. And according to the rules and according to the court's order, expert reports were actually due 2 months prior to trial. This report was a pretty big report. It was 57 pages long, and it was filled with numbers and charts and graphs. So I ended up filing a motion to preclude the report from coming in at trial and also to stop the expert from testifying at trial. The other side filed a response and I filed a reply, and we got a minute entry order from the judge saying, work it out. But part of that minute entry order was a statement by the judge that if we didn't work it out, the judge would be strongly considering whether to impose sanctions upon the attorneys and or the parties. So if you are in a case, you don't want to suffer these sanctions, believe you me. And the first sanction that the judge could have imposed in this case was by not letting the report in. That would have been a sanction against the other side, in this case, the husband. So if you're in a case and you disclose something late, it's possible the judge could say, hey, this isn't trial by ambush, you're not allowed to sandbag, and I'm not letting this in at trial. There are some exceptions to this rule, however, so if you don't get something till late and as a result you discover it late, I would research these exceptions. So as an example, in Arizona, we have a case, and this case says that if a piece of evidence pertains to the best interests of a child, even if it's disclosed late, the court should consider it. But I wouldn't rely on the fact that there might be an exception. I just get your evidence disclosed to the other side as early as possible. So sanction number one is the court not letting it in at trial. Sanction number two could be financial penalties, financial fees assessed against you. And when this issue came up for me in the case, I called around to some attorney friends of mine who I knew had been in front of this particular judge. And all of them told me, hey, you better work this out because this judge is hardcore and he's actually assessed fees against attorneys and parties. So if a judge thinks that you haven't tried to resolve a dispute in good faith, or that your disclosure, that you've had information for a while and you didn't disclose it till late, the judge could issue a fine against you or your attorney. And these fines could range anywhere from hundreds of dollars to thousands of dollars. And I can tell you that's something that I did not want to face from this judge. So the third thing that could happen if you don't disclose something on time and it prejudices the other party, or the judge thinks it's unreasonable, your late disclosure, is an assessment of attorney's fees and costs in favor of the other party. And often in these cases, the parties are each asking for the other side to pay their attorney's fees and costs. In some of the cases, the judge orders a party to pay some or all of the other's attorney's fees and costs, especially when there has been prejudice. So a judge is going to be looking at, among other things, whether your disclosure was timely and made in good faith. So a great rule of thumb is disclose early and disclose everything. And you know, it's just better to disclose everything to the other side, even if you think you may not use some of the evidence. That way, if you change your mind in the weeks or days before trial, you have that option. If you don't disclose it, then you're not going to have the option to use it, or you're going to disclose it late and potentially face the wrath of the court, which you don't want to do in your case. You always want to stay on the judge's good side, especially if the judge is the one who's making the decisions. So I hope this info helped. Remember to like us on Facebook, subscribe to the Command the Courtroom YouTube channel, give us a thumbs up if you like this video. Send me your questions if there's a topic you want me to consider addressing in future videos. Until next week, keep on trucking, and remember to command the courtroom.